welcome to the first episode of the Tooniversal Glossary. I'm Chris McLennan.
I'm Carl Noble.
And we're going to use this companion show to just try and, recap the sort of lay of the land, but more importantly, to define some terms that we keep using and don't want to explain every time we use them.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit sick of it.
It should also serve as maybe a decent sort of catch-up. If people are joining the show late, they can just nip in here, see what's been going on.
I would advise listening to the rest of them, because there's some interesting.
Yeah, but if
things
you want to
going
dive
on.
in, you can do that in your own good mystical time.
Surely they're doing the whole thing in their own time.
In their own good mystical time.
Oh right, okay, yeah, they're using mystical.
Also,
time.
I think you hold a higher opinion of people who listen to, especially podcasts of this calibre, because they're probably listening to it at work.
Yeah, that's where I'd listen to it if I worked.
Not their own time.
Not their own time. I'm going to get paid for this.
So, so we're going to start off. We're going to go through some terms that we've been using that we just want to have a firm definition for, things that we've got set in stone, basically.
Yeah.
And going to just start probably saying
we use them on the
as if you
regular.
understand.
Yeah. I think that's easier, so we're not having to use all our precious time redefining everything. Bloody words.
Because our time is precious.
It is.
It's precious. Precious time.
Busy man.
Yeah. You're not a lord of leisure.
No.
Jobless lord of leisure.
Not anymore. Got a bit of a job now.
You've got a bit of an old job.
I've got a bit of a job.
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Right. Shall we kick this off?
Yeah, let's.
Right, so first up is the moment, which is quite a pivotal thing in the Tooniverse. Yeah,
it's their switch from kind of standard animal into a higher functioning
bipedal, jacket wearing, talking.
Oh, just pants, maybe socks.
Yeah,
we haven't seen one in just socks actually.
There's no more naked one can be than just socks.
No, that is true.
Like that's the most naked you can be.
Yeah, it is a bit odd. I thought I'd just walk around just in your socks. Do you ever do it in your house? Just walk around just in your socks? Maybe on a winter when it's cold.
I mean, I seem oddly familiar with the awkward feeling of doing it, so I guess I must have done it once. And gone, this is not for me.
No, this is not good.
Anyway, we digress.
We do.
The moment is when an animal becomes what we define as a toon.
Yeah.
So who lives in the toon society. Yeah. It's a bit X-Men.
Yeah, seems to be.
It goes through a moment of incredible stress or some massive emotional moment, and they just click, and suddenly they're walking, talking.
Yeah, and they seem more willing in the early stages, more willing to use their toon powers. So we had that little chick in Porky's Garden.
Yeah.
So I believe he had his corn stolen off him, and then he
was livid.
Yeah, he wasn't happy, so he went along, and that was kind of the moment. He ate a load of spinach, got massive.
Yeah, he was bullied by that other chicken.
Yeah.
He didn't like it. He snapped.
Yeah.
He ate a load of spinach. He got massive. He went and thumped him.
Yeah. So I think that's quite a decent example of what the moment is.
Yeah, I think that's when we realised it was a thing.
Yeah.
That there wasn't just this split between animals and toon animals, but there was actually...
One can become the other.
Do
you think they go the other way?
I hope not, but we'll see.
We haven't seen it happen.
But one thing to note is if an animal is born to two sentient toon parents, then they don't have to go through that moment. They're just
they are born at that level.
They're already in toon society. But so that's the moment. The moment is that X-Men-esque switch where your powers sort of awaken.
Yes. So super sentience then.
Super sentience.
Yeah.
We keep saying sentience every single time. If you ever hear us say sentience, we mean super sentience.
Yes.
It's just a clumsy thing to say every time because we know that animals are sentient.
Yes.
We're not mad bastards. well,
maybe a little bit.
So super sentience is the state that toons are in. Toons in toon society. So any animal in the Tooniverse who can speak like properly, like full sentences, hold a conversation,
interacts, drives a car,
yeah,
boat, plane.
There's some like haziness as to like if it's two animals we wouldn't consider toons talking to one another, I think they might be able to talk to each other.
I would say so.
It's the point where someone who's definitely in toon society, so if Porky Pig's there,
yeah,
and there's something that's just, you think, oh, that's just a cow, and he talks to it. If it talks back, it's super sentient.
Yes. It's just living as a cow.
But yeah, so that's that's the stage after the post moment.
Yeah.
That's the level of intelligence we're talking about.
They enter the super sentience or sentience.
But yeah, we regularly say sentience, normally because we're grasping for a word that we don't really have.
Yeah.
Anytime we say sentience, we mean super sentience, and that is basically the state of intelligence that like Porky Pig or Daffy Duck or any of the people they interact with day to day are in. So that's super sentience.
We've got a trouser test. We use that one. Well, it came in later on, didn't it?
Yeah, but it's been it's been useful as a shorthand for quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so the trouser test is basically when an animal goes through its moment and it becomes sentient, there seems to be some which just don't enter society properly, and then you've got the ones that are in society. So the trouser test is basically their test to get through that, so they can, enter society, get jobs.
Because it's government administered, presumably.
I would say so, unless there's some sort of
maybe
different organisation, like a charity that does it.
I know it's probably lower level government though. Surely, certain areas going to be maybe more lenient.
Yeah, it's kind of like your driving licence. You're not allowed to just get into a car and drive around.
But yeah, you're basically
because you're just not safe.
Yeah, but you're basically asked a bunch of questions, or maybe put to a bunch of tests. We haven't got the finer points of what the trouser test is. That might be something to explore later.
Yeah, we might see it happen. You might see somebody in the background just on their trouser test. So at that point, if they pass the trouser test, they get an item of clothing. It doesn't necessarily have to be trousers.
It's a bit like Dobby the house elf.
Yeah, like getting granted an item of clothing, because obviously, Dobby was, capable of doing lots of different things, cleaning, magic, and he just wasn't allowed. He was those two things, cleaning and magic. Well, obviously, he wasn't allowed to do, live in normal society until he was freed from his slavery.
Yeah, and a similar case here. So so in the timeline we're currently in, Daffy's reasonably recently taken his trouser test.
He has very recently, and you can tell that because he's not quite doing what would be expected in society.
Yeah,
he hasn't just quite grasped it yet.
Because he was given, he was either given some shorts or boxing gloves.
Yeah,
that was what he was given when he passed his trouser test.
Yeah,
but yeah, so the trouser test probably administered by maybe low level local government.
Yeah,
just make sure
a lot like your driving license.
A lot like your driving license.
Yeah.
The trouser test. That's what we mean when we say that.
Yeah. Hopefully that made sense.
I doubt it. So we mentioned government when we talk about the trouser test.
We did.
So I think it's about time we talked about the monkey government.
The old monkey government.
Government.
That was a term coined in the first episode, I believe.
Was it the very first episode? I think it was Porky's Building, so maybe...
I mean, the first episode of the podcast.
Oh, the first episode of the podcast.
Yeah, see what I did there? First episode,
yeah. But, that was coined when we saw Sandy Cement, who we repeatedly
called the mayor.
Incorrectly referred to as the monkey mayor.
He's not the mayor.
He's not the mayor. He is the building commissioner.
He is the building commissioner.
But it gave us a window into the government of at least this part of the Toon world in 1937 at the time, but we haven't seen any strong reason to disbelieve that the government is to believe that the government has changed. So the monkey government, as it sounds, the country's run by monkeys. They have a very laissez-faire attitude.
Yeah. It's interesting the way they arbitrarily spend money, but there again, as we found out, the taxation system seems to be.
I guess it's not. It's just feckless. It's not even laissez-faire. Because laissez-faire, like, it wouldn't have the tax level that they do.
No, that
so
is
the
true.
monkey government is a absurdly, like, socialist, high tax,
very
absurd
high tax.
welfare schemes. Just spooging money everywhere.
We want
they've got
a building. Let's build 2.
Yeah, they've got a lot of money lying about. And they put a lot of welfare in place. It's it seems to be working, but every time we've seen any actual sight of what the monkey government's up to, I'm surprised that it's working.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't seem. Not uproar.
Yeah, they don't seem to have it like really nailed. But I mean, it is working. But it's just when you see it, it's like I don't know how that works.
Well, they seem to have nailed that line where, like, the state doesn't feel like a socialist state.
Yeah.
But it absolutely is. Everyone's still rocking, full capitalist vibes, left, right and centre. But it's not. No. They're being taxed to buggery.
They really are. Carpet tax,
yeah. But it's interesting. But that's the monkey government. We'll be referring to them until we see any insight that
I think the
government's changed.
I think the dog's on the rise.
You think dogs are on the rise? You're not siding with walruses?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I need to see more of the walrus.
Yeah,
we haven't seen a lot of them.
Yeah, we've seen 2, I think, maybe 3. There was that dogs. German walrus.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter right
now.
No. But yeah, the monkeys run the country at the moment. That's the most important thing to recognise, and it's a super socialist.
Yeah.
So that's the monkey government. Okay, so the Pig Brother program is something we're not sure if we're going to refer to it a lot, but it seemed like something that might come up.
It came up quite a lot on the last few episodes we did.
Because we were trying to work out why Porky never learns and keeps befriending insane ducks.
Yeah.
And came to the conclusion that he's on some sort of mentoring program called the Pig Brother program, where when Toons have just taken their Trouser test, he sort of just
brings them in,
guides them into society,
teaches them kind of how to behave.
So it's one of the many schemes implemented by the monkey government to culture inclusivity and you just really help out the newbies.
Yeah, it seems like a really nice idea. It hasn't necessarily worked out very well for Porky so far.
No, I mean, he does struggle.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, the Pig Brother program. We don't know much about it yet, but we're pretty certain at this point that that's a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we refer to the Pig Brother program, it's basically a mentoring program for new Toons in society. Okay, Arrest. Then, which is the Agency for the Rescue and Retrieval of Escaped Toons. I think we formally, maybe briefly referred to them as the ETA, which is the Escaped Toon Agency. But we've separated 2 ideas. So Arrest are the task force in charge of, as the name would suggest, retrieving Toons who have escaped from the Tooniverse into our world.
Yeah, relatively new organisation.
Yeah, sometimes it's an accident and they're just trying to rescue someone. Yeah. Other times it was very deliberate and they've got to take those Toons down.
Yeah.
We haven't seen much of them in action, but we have seen signs of their work. Most prominently, the episode Porky in Wacky Land, which was a load of horse shit. It's just like a false episode that they'd made. They'd hacked together so they could reopen the portal on the same day as Toons escaped.
Yeah, well, like pretty much almost immediately.
And get those Toons back in. So we've only seen sort of signs of their work, and we're slowly seeing a sort of infrastructure put in place so that they can do this more effectively without disrupting the general flow of things.
Yeah, without it just looking like they're whiffing it. Because we've had one episode where it was like, okay, that seems like it was a bit better put together. Or they seem to be splicing in random little bits. So it doesn't seem so whiffed it. Because Porky and Wacky Land was... It was just too obvious.
Yeah, it was obviously hacked together. And so people on our side of the portal... it must have been like, oh, something's up.
Yeah.
Something is up.
Well, it had to have been.
So Arrest are the task force in charge of doing that, putting those things together, and I'm sure we'll see quite a lot of them in the future.
I'd imagine so.
They do point to something bigger, however. Okay, the agency.
Yeah, this is the kind of overarching secret part of the government.
Yeah, we don't know much about them, as is their intention.
Well, that's what they're about. The secret part of the government.
But there has to be some overarching department or agency that basically governs interdimensional relations.
Yeah, so they are very aware of the crossover between their world and our world, and they're the ones basically controlling it. Whether or not the portal opens on purpose, they're there to kind of keep control, make sure that toons aren't getting out, and if they do get out, getting them back in.
But I also think it's likely that the agency is actually not just toons. I think it's probably a
cross-dimensional agency.
For which, on our side, Warner Brothers is the front.
Yeah.
And on their side, what was the studio called? The one that Porky worked at?
That's a good point.
I can't remember. But yeah, there's a studio on their side, similar studio, and that's the front. I imagine a load of film exec toons going into the one on their side, a load of film execs going on our side, and they go into a studio, and then there's just a big round Doctor Strangelove-esque table with some toons and some.
Do you reckon it goes through the portal at points? So they're sitting at a toon part of the table.
I reckon there's an interim sort of dimension which just houses that table. They open portals there. It's different rooms on the sort of Stargate.
The big Stargate table.
The big Stargate that they've both got.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, I've got a good mental image of what that's like. But they govern all this stuff. And arrest is part of the toon side of that agency. We don't know what we've got in those terms, but it'll be interesting to find out.
I do wonder if we'll ever see any of our guys on their side.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Keep an eye on it.
Yeah. But all of these shady government proceedings revolve around just one thing.
The agency.
The portal.
Mm-hmm.
So, those rings at the start of every Looney Tunes Merry Melodies number, they are not fancy decoration.
No.
That is a manifestation of the portal between our worlds. Now, we've seen from very early stage, people sort of poke their head out and sort of wave and stuff, but it didn't take long before people realised maybe they could get all the way through that thing.
You can get in and out. I think the first time it must have happened by accident, because we started noticing the portal kind of creeping out, so the toons were talking to people in the rows of the theatre.
Yeah.
And that was the kind of first time we noticed it.
Yeah, there's definitely, from where the portal opens, a sort of aura where you see sort of shadows or reflections of what's on the other side, because we've seen silhouettes of people on the screen. We believe that currently that when the portal opens, it's just that one time.
Yeah.
That's where the connection is. That's when you can get in and out. However, we don't know how the two timelines necessarily work, but I don't think they run in parallel.
I don't think so.
I think there's deliberate openings of the portal at various points to other places. Again, sort of like Stargate.
Yeah.
But
then there's the occasional accidental crossovers.
Absolutely. But if you have an episode, well, what to us is an episode of Looney Tunes that's set 200 years ago, but it opens in 1937 on our side, then time travel is technically possible by use of the portal.
Yeah.
Which I think will start coming in. I think we'll start noticing things that at first don't make sense,
but it's
going to be explained away by some clever portal use.
Yeah, a toon jumping in at a different time frame.
Yeah. So if there's a Renaissance era toon and a contemporary cartoon in the same week or whatever. They jump out, they go on the lam in our world for a week, they hop back in. Bob's your uncle, travelled 200 years in the future.
I wonder if Arrest have to deal with those tunes.
Or if there's another agency, or another task force altogether.
A time task force.
A time task force, yeah.
Oh.
A time team.
The time team. Go on, Tony, go get them.
That's all we really know about the portal, but that's what most of this is revolved around.
Yeah.
And we've seen catastrophic sort of consequences to people being through the portal on the wrong side for too long.
Yeah. I mean, only a matter of weeks before, they got back in, and the devastation they caused was intense.
It was quite intense. It was like it really ramped up to war on our side of the portal, just because two toons hopped through and were on our side for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, intense.
There's a good reason for the agency to exist and to keep this portal
under control.
Under control, but sometimes they don't do a very good job of it.
Well, everyone whiffs it every now and again, don't they?
Everyone whiffs it every now and again.
It happens.
But yeah, that's about all we know about the portal, really. So I think that's all the terms we need to.
Yeah, I think so.
Define at this point.
Like, they're definitely the ones we use the most, and the ones we seem to find ourselves re-explaining.
Yeah. So that's about it for the Tooniversal Glossary.
Yeah, I think we covered everything we wanted to cover.
Yeah, we're going to do one of these every 10 episodes, just as a little companion, and they'll come out on the Friday after the episode. Otherwise, tune in on Wednesday for episode 11.
Oh. Yeah.
Bye!
Bye!